The news day continues here on One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. The national government has suspended its policy on shortened quarantine periods for vaccinated individuals amid the threat of the Delta variant. Tell us the latest on the government's COVID-19 response. We have Greg Gregorio now joining us at Quezon City. Good afternoon, Greg. Now that the shortened quarantine period is suspended, those who need to undergo quarantine will have to complete a 14-day period. But do they have to stay at quarantine facilities only, or are there other options?
Charles, from what we know, it depends if you are an incoming traveler or if you are a close contact or a confirmed case from within the LGU. If you are an incoming traveler, you have to be at a facility while you are completing your 14-day quarantine and while you are waiting for your RT-PCR test result. And if you are a close contact of a confirmed or probable COVID-19 case, and if you are experiencing symptoms, according to the Department of Health, it would be better if you would coordinate with your LGU through the Barangay Health Response Team for you to have a further guidance on which facility must be appropriate for your quarantine, for your 14-day quarantine period. Charles?
Right, Greg, do we have any updates on the healthcare utilization rates among NCR LGUs?
Yes, Charles, based on the report of Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere during the earlier media forum, the healthcare utilization rate in the NCR has been divided into 4 districts. For District 1, comprising Caloocan, Malabon, Navotas, and Valenzuela, the hospital care utilization rate is at 48%, while its ICU is at 40%. For District 2, comprising Marikina, Pasig, Pateros, Quezon City, and Taguig, the healthcare utilization rate is at 69%, while its utilization for ICU beds is at 78%. District 3, which comprises Makati, Mandaluyong, which is comprised by Makati, Mandaluyong, Manila, and San Juan, the HCUR is at 48%, while the ICU is at 61%. For District 4, which comprises by Las Piñas, Muntinlupa, Parañaque, and Pasay, the hospital care utilization rate is at 62%, while the ICU utilization is at 75%. Vergere said that they are continuously working with hospitals in the National Capital Region for them to be provided with necessary funds for needed medical supply and the hiring of additional human resources for them to match or for them to better their capacity to cater more COVID-19 patients amid this rising cases of COVID-19 in the National Capital Region. Charles?
Right, Greg, we're less than a week into our new ECQ. Are there any talks about possibly extending ECQ in the metro? What is the likelihood of this happening based on what we know?
Just according to Vergere, they are studying what could be the possibilities, but she emphasized that they are balancing economy and health, as we cannot go under lockdown forever because the economy has been taking hits by this pandemic and many individuals are suffering from hunger. According to Vergere, there are projections presented by the expert members of the IATF. If we are to put or to implement ECQ for 2 weeks and then ease down to MECQ, we might see a total of 42,000 active cases in the National Capital Region by the end of September. With this with this projection, Vergeres said that our healthcare capacity may be enough, but this would only be sufficient if only severe and critical cases of COVID-19 will be admitted to the hospitals, and others, or those who are experiencing mild or moderate symptoms, be at the quarantine facility. Charles?
Greg, we are seeing more and more children being recorded as COVID-19 patients. Do we have any updates on possibly allowing children, or at the very least those with comorbidities, to get vaccinated?
Charles, when it comes to the rising cases amongst children, Yusek Vergeres said they are still analyzing the data that they are receiving from various institutions. But when it comes to vaccination of children, according to Vergeres, it is still not recommended at this point because of the considerations of safety, equity, and protection of children. Because if we are talking about the vaccines, of the vaccines given with emergency use authorization in the Philippines, only Pfizer is allowed to be used for 12 years old and above. Vergeres said we would need to wait for further evidence for us to choose vaccines that are safe for children. When it comes to equity, Vergeres admitted that the supply is still having an issue as we cannot vaccinate all of our target populations at this time yet, because there is still a scarce supply of COVID-19 vaccines in a global setting. And for protection, Vergeres said if all if all or most of the adult populations will be vaccinated, we could give indirect protection to children. So with these considerations, Vergeres emphasized that vaccinating children is not recommended at this point in time. Charles?
Greg, what reminders did the Department of Health give to beneficiaries who would be lining up to receive their ayuda or cash aid? And how about those who are still required to report to work in the field or at the office?
Just for the conduct of payout,
That's why even if there are vacant beds for COVID patients, hospitals are finding it difficult to manage the influx of COVID-19 patients seeking treatment.
Ginagawa naman lahat ng mga health workers natin ng lahat ng makakaya nila. Yun nga lang, at sila'y tao lang, hindi naman sila robot, kaya napapagod din sila at nakakaapekto yan sa hindi sa capacity pero sa capability ng mga hospital. Yan ang pinakamalaki nating problema sa mga hospital ngayon, yung manpower natin.
Health experts defend the government's move to prioritize vaccinations for the adult population, despite the spike in COVID-19 infections among the youth. In an interview with the Chiefs, pediatrics infectious diseases expert Anna Ong Lim said that aside from supply constraints, logistics and transportation issues should be considered before vaccinating minors.
The countries that have worked on vaccinating kids only started doing so after they saturated the higher risk populations that they had within their countries, like the older individuals. Following that line of reasoning, kahit na sabihin natin na sufficient yung supply, yung efforts kasi to deploy the vaccines are very substantial. Kahit na sabihin natin hindi supply yung issue, yung logistics are a consideration.
Meanwhile, DOH NITAG's Dr. Consortia Lim Quizon revealed that vaccine experts are now studying the inclusion of kids with comorbidities in the government's A3 priority sector.
We had a meeting yesterday. As of the moment, pinag-aaralan ng ating mga expert panel kung pwedeng ilagay na rin doon sa ating A3, hindi ba comorbidity yon? So, meron ba tayong sinabing age doon sa comorbidity na yon? Sinabi lang natin comorbid, hindi ba? So, they're trying to look into that.
Over in the city of San Juan, the local government is taking advantage of the Ayuda payout to encourage more residents to get vaccinated. To tell us how it's going for them so far, we have Dale De Vera, now reporting live from San Juan City. Good afternoon, Greg. Dale, could you give us the situation there over now?
Charles, residents here in San Juan City may receive both ayuda and their bakuna when they line up for their cash aid. The process here at Barangay Santa Lucia in San Juan City is smooth and is expected to be the same in 20 other distribution centers. Aside from barangay officials, police and members of the Fire Bureau are also deployed to ensure that everything will run smoothly. There is only one entrance and exit in the center, and only 100 beneficiaries are allowed inside every hour. If your name is not on the list for the hour, you will be asked to go home. You will need to present a photocopy of your identification card with 3 signatures. But if a representative will claim your cash aid for you, an authorization letter should be presented along with photocopies of IDs of both beneficiaries and a representative. Beneficiaries should be in and out of the center all within an hour. Here's how the process goes. First, you need to have your name and documents validated. Then the cash will be released at the cashier before you have your picture taken for documentation. Many of those who already received their ayuda said it will go a long way, especially for members of their family who have temporarily lost their jobs. Unvaccinated beneficiaries may also get their jobs at the centers, but the thing is, proxies or representatives will not be accommodated. San Juan Mayor Francis Zamora clarifies, though, that the vaccination is fully voluntary. At present, San Juan has 311 active COVID cases. Of this number, 182 are unvaccinated, which is why Mayor Zamora remains aggressive in his vaccination campaign, despite his city already being the first to achieve herd immunity. Charles, at least 101 million pesos has been given to San Juan for cash aid distribution. That's 3 million pesos higher than what they received in March this year. For those who are enlisted in their master list, Zamora says they may bring it up with the grievance committee. And should there be an excess in the budget, they will assess and check if they are qualified for the assistance. Charles?
Thanks for that update, Dale. That was Dale De Vera reporting live from San Juan City. Six-time Ballon d'Or winner Lionel Messi received a hero's welcome after flying to France on Tuesday to join Paris Saint-Germain following his departure from Barcelona. Messi arrived in the French capital at the Le Bourget airport, waving to ecstatic fans amid cheers and chants. He then underwent medical checks at Paris's American hospital ahead of signing his contract with PSG. There was also a frenzy outside PSG's home, Parc des Princes Stadium, where Messi then visited as fans cried the club's slogan, "This is Paris." The arrival of Barcelona's all-time record scorer will boost PSG's ambitions to win the Champions League for the first time. Here's a quick look at some of today's headlines. After 16 days, the main crater of Taal volcano has started emitting steam once again. The IATF suspends its protocol of shortened quarantine periods for fully vaccinated close contacts of COVID-19 patients. Because of this, all close contacts of probable and confirmed COVID-19 cases are now required to undergo a mandatory quarantine of 14 days. And Errol Spence Jr. withdraws from his fight against People's Champ Manny Pacquiao due to an eye injury. And those are the top stories at this hour. Join us again later at 2 p.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Just register for a free account at www.signalplay.com so you can stream One News anytime and anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.